As we all know, listings are king. You list to last. And in a market where inventory is tight, generating new business is key. Today, we will be discussing what's the best way to get leads. And one of them, the best way to get leads is through your sphere of influence. And guess what? They're free. As I always say, people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. When you think of your sphere of influence, most agents think of their holiday card list or their wedding list. Your sphere of influence is everyone you know and everyone you do business with. It's the salesman you bought your car from, your mechanic, your home inspector, your electrician, your tax accountant, your hairstylist, your nail tech, your children's teachers, your neighbors, everyone you have a relationship with. I could go on and on. What you want to think about is you can't be a secret agent out there. So do you ask for the business from your sphere? I've had the pleasure of talking with our phenomenal panelists one-on-one prior to our call today, and they are exceptional in generating a steady stream of business from their sphere of influence. So let's get started. I'm going to introduce us to our panelists. And Tony, I'm going to start with you in my far left corner on my Hollywood squares. So Tony, tell us your name, where you're from, how long you've been in the business, and are you more listing or buyer focused?
Good morning, Lisa, and good morning, everyone on this panel and everybody that's watching us live this morning. Thank you for having me. What an honor to be here. My name is Tony Farah again. I'm in the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and I cover the surrounding. I'm out of the Wayzata office. I've been in real estate for 8 years. I got into real estate to make a difference. I am a parent of a special needs child with severe autism, and I knew I was going to get to this day. Today, I'm a proud author of 3 storybooks that details the moving process for families with special needs. To me, having a balance between buyers and sellers is important because you need to understand both sides of the defense and the offense. So I focus more on, I've got a balance of 45% more on sellers and 55% more on buyers.
Perfect. Thank you, Tony. Karen, moving over to you.
Awesome. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here with us. My name's Karen Greenwood. I am in Michigan. So when you think of a Michigan agent, think of me. I am actually in the Detroit metro market. I have practiced for 23 years, and I've been with Coldwell Banker for 22 of them. So I bleed blue. And my clients are 50-50. Actually, I have 50% listings and about 50% buyers. That might go to 49-51 this year, but it's usually pretty split.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen.
Happy
Natasha.
to be here.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Natasha Robinson. I am a loan originator at GRA from Chicago, Illinois. I focus on, of course, buyers most of the time, all the time. I specialize in renovation loans. So I offer your traditional products. I also offer down payment assistance. And many are scared of renovation, but I do offer FHA, 203K, home style renovation, Freddie renovation, as well as VA renovation. And I love working with my clients, helping them find outlets and unique ways for home ownership to happen with the lowest down payments possible and the lowest interest rates.
Oh, I love that, Natasha. Thanks for sharing. Miss Sue.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having us today. We're really looking forward to a fun discussion today. And I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, specifically with the South Lake office. And we also have a team office here in Grapevine, Texas. It's a small town just outside the airport. And my background is in the hotel industry. I spent a little over 20 years in hotels and sales, marketing, and operations for hotels, and started the real estate business about 9 years ago. And my business mix is about 60-40 listings and buyers. Awesome. And thrilled to be here today.
Thank you, Sue. And Miss Holly, moving over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you again, Lisa. I am from the greater Milwaukee area in southeast Wisconsin. Our office is actually in downtown Milwaukee, so it's great to have an office right in the heart of the city. one of the things I just wanted to share was, for me, I've been doing this about 10 years and started kind of slow as a second career, but as my business started to take off, I was so blessed to be able to bring in a partner who happens to be my daughter. So we're just a two-person team, but it's really fun working with somebody young who has a ton of energy, plus I'm related to. So it's a really great dynamic, and it's been working well for us this is our 4th year.
Awesome.
And I'd say we are probably a little different than most of you. We're probably 60% buyers, 40% listings. So this market has been interesting, but we're kind of turning that tide recently. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Well, let's dig in a little bit. And so we're going to talk about a little bit about, we know a lot of folks out there are relying on outside sources for leads. But as you guys all told me, you spend a lot of time or some people spend a lot of time and energy and money driving leads from your fear. So what I wanted to talk about, or have you guys talk about, is how much of your efforts are spent prospecting from your sphere of influence versus external sources. So Tony, I know you and I had some conversations about that. So why don't you share with us how that looks for you?
So the way it looks for me, again, it's kind of unique. So I have 2 buckets within my sphere of influence. The first bucket is those are the people that know me, like me, and trust me. And a frequent conversation with this bucket really leads to potential business or referrals. The second bucket is those families, again, with special needs. Those were the people that really went into directly trusting me just because I live in their shoes 24/7. So to me, the relationship grew faster, and I've been able to really capture business and referral business from that bucket as well. So kind of SOI within 2 different buckets.
Awesome. So Ms. Holly, I know we talked a little bit about also some of the different things that you do. So if you want to share with us about your efforts prospecting from your own sphere of influence versus external sources.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things is, I would say we probably get 65% of our business from our sphere. The other source, though, that really has proven strong for us in the past 4 years has been social media. And I consider that an external source, but we're not paying for it. So 30% of our new business comes from social media. So if you're not following us, please get out there and look us up. We do a lot with agent to agent referrals as well. Not all Coldwell Banker, because we, again, get a lot of those referrals through social media. So our primary focus is our sphere, but then engaging and drawing people in through social media has really proven to be a winning play for us.
Awesome. Thank you. Miss Sue.
Yes, ma'am. So sphere of influence and finding new business. So what we really focused on, and what I focused on in the very beginning, was the people that I knew and worked with before. Your family, your friends. And then we really dug deep in farming opportunities as well. So being very involved in the community, we attend a lot of community events. We're part of the Grapevine Chamber of Commerce. We're also Rotarians. We do a lot in the community. And with that sort of practice every single day, is touching the community every single day, it's natural that you'll make contacts through that. And of course, it's mostly free. You know, you have membership dues that you have to pledge and that sort of thing. But just being there and having that time in the community will really result in a lot of business, because you do become the expert in your community if you're there. You go to city council meetings, you go to planning and zoning meetings. If you go, in our particular case, we're in a historic district, so we attend the Historic Preservation Commission meetings. Just being visible in the community and giving back means a lot to those that you even don't know, and they become your sphere of influence. So we've done a really good job of being out there. And sometimes, you know, at the end of the day, you're tired and you say, I don't want to go to a city council meeting at 7:30. It pays off. It really does, to just attend and be present and say yes as much as you possibly can.
Love that, Sue. Thank you. And Miss Karen, I'm going to move up to you.
I was actually just going to add on to Sue. I go to the city council meetings as well. And I was just asked to be on the tax assessing board. So what better to have a realtor in the room that just made me kind of the go-to person about tax questions. So when we say we speak house, we talk about all the things that have to do with housing. So of course, taxes are a big deal. I have a sphere of influence. It's about 500 people. They are made up of past clients and almost all past clients and people that I run into all the time. I also belong to a very active BNI group, which is a business networking group. We meet every single Thursday from 7 to 8:30. I take that very seriously. I've been in that group for over 20 years. The other place where I get business is I get about 10 leads a year from my fellow colleagues across the country. And I do association work for the National Association in Michigan Realtors. So that's, just like you said earlier, just I hand out my business card. I let people know when they think about Michigan. If I can't help them, I can find someone who can. So that's really what we do. We work our sphere, and I know later on you'll ask us what we do in our sphere, but my sphere of influence, those three areas account for 98% of my business. Right now, I am not getting very many internet leads. I do not buy leads at all. So it's, and last year we closed 70 deals, and we're going for it for this year as well.
Ooh, love that, Karen. And Miss Natasha, so GRA, you're a super connector. So tell us a little bit about your sphere of influence and what you're doing with that.
So I'm more of a storyteller, right? So I started out with Guaranteed Rate about 15 years ago as a $28,000 a year salaried processor. And I've grown to running my own branch. I was ranked the #1 female FHA loan originator in Illinois. I am a house hacker, so I do buy properties myself. So I have inside experience. And I tell my story, which is a magnet for buyers that are looking and sellers that we can refer out. But I've also learned how to connect with my agents and clients through events and things like that. So I actually built out my own office space, and it's more like an event space. So we have live events in my office that we can invite. It's very affordable for realtors. And most realtors, believe it or not, you don't even know you have a sphere of influence. Like, you haven't even had a one event for yourself and invited the people who love you and want to support you out. So what I do is I make that platform for agents to come out to our space. I actually have 2 spaces, another one in addition to my office that is a little more, eventy, not office space. So that way they can feel comfortable. The drinks and food is inexpensive. We partner with our partners so that way they can help them pay and have a free event and bring those clients out so that way you can grow your business. You will be amazed of how many agents have never even had a first-time event because they're shy or because they just don't know how to do it. So I'm queen of events. I love networking. I do, I'm on Dearborn, which is an affiliate of NARAB. So I do a lot of community work. We did 50 million last year, even in the crazy market. And I specialize in helping others grow. Like, I know many pains. So we just try to go right into what is your pain. Once I create a flyer and we post it for you, you're having the event. And guess what? If no one shows up, I can record you as if everyone was there, and you can play that back on your socials. So I use social media, my direct sphere, your sphere, and everyone else that we tag, so we can get this home ownership message out there and give the real facts, because many people on social media are not knowledgeable. The knowledge is right here on this call. You guys know more than the people that are getting paid to speak, but you don't speak, so they believe what everyone else is saying. So I make it my business to give great information and to bring people that are not speakers out to speak, so that way you can share those nuggets with the world and gain those clients.
Oh, Natasha, amazing. Love that. Thank you for sharing. So moving into, your process for your sphere of influence, right? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before I go into that, Holly, one of the questions I had noticed is they were asking what type of social media that you use, for your, for getting out to folks for your sphere. So could you just answer that real quick before we move on?
For me?
Sure. We mainly focus on Instagram, and I would say that's 100% of our leads come through. We do post on Facebook. it's not been as successful for us. We decided to pick 2 and not worry about all the other social media that's out there. Focus on it. Instagram is such a popular way to engage with people. It becomes such a primary form of communication. And for us, it's really about sharing who we are. And I was going to share this later, but it's really about having your business and your personal life and melding them together so people know who you are and they understand you and they want to work with you. We're not agents who post just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. We'll have one of those in there. We'll tell a client story. We'll tell where to go get the best new cocktail in town. And we integrate that as well with a lot of local businesses. So yeah, Instagram is what's worked really, really well for us.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so now moving on as far as part of the process. So your process. So for example, when you get a referral, whether it's from your sphere or from an agent, how do you thank them? You know, how do you keep them posted, you know, after it closes, or even if it doesn't pan out? So, you know, and then during a transaction, what steps do you take to generate leads from those active clients? So Karen, I'm going to start with you because I know that when we were talking, I want you to walk through the process of how you do stay in touch with your folks.
So the first thing when someone calls me is the first thing I always ask. It gets written on the top of the paper, sometimes even before the client's name, is how did you get my name? So that's always in my notebook. I can always go back and reference it because sometimes during the conversation, we need to put those pieces back together. I always thank the person who refers it. Generally, it's one of my past clients. So sometimes we'll send them a set of coasters or we'll send them a gift card. We'll send them out to dinner. And I just want them to know, everyone gets a personal note every single time, but I just want them to know that I appreciate them and the work. As far as a referral from an agent across the country or even right in my backyard, I will give them weekly or biweekly updates, just let them know how things are going. And I thank them too, but usually I send them either a cocktail kit or, you know, I send them out to get some coffee, or if I know they're in my market, maybe some car washes, you know, something that they can actually use in their business. And it's different and unique and usually personal. I like to have relationships with those agents too, because everyone knows someone moving in
Awesome.
during the process. And I think saying thank you is way underrated, and writing personal notes is way underrated. So if you have the time, what we do is we break our 500 people into groups throughout the year, and we buy cards and we pre-write them and put them in stacks. And my job is to grab a stack once a week and write a personal note. So everyone in my sphere of influence gets one personal note. And if I don't know what to say to them, I will go data mine some information. Like I will go to their social media. I will find out if they had a child that graduated, or sometimes it will just say, hey, happy spring. We're sick of the double digits or triple digit heat, right? We'll say something fun in there. But I generally don't, if you ever have a question about real estate, call me, I always end it that way. But it's not a hard ask. It's more, how are you doing? So
Awesome. Love that.
that's
Tony.
a ninja thing too, by the way. You know, you talk to your sphere all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony, moving over to you.
Well, agent-to-agent referrals is my third biggest lead source. And, you know, it goes without saying, the amount of network you build through the travels to different conferences and whatnot, you know, has been really the bread and butter to me. And, you know, the way we follow our process, I don't believe in anything that is over communication. You know, it's like being in the zone until you score, basically. So if I'm working with a referral from a past client, then we're keeping that client in check on a weekly basis, whether it's through a text, a video text, or a phone call. It all depends on the situations, but every couple of weeks we keep the referral partner as well in check and just keep them informed as far as where the process is and where we are until we close. And then I always tell my clients who closes, that is when the relationship pretty much begins. Meaning is that we will follow up after 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 180 days at the end of the year. And then once we kind of move them, we promote them to the sphere of influence. And to them, oh my God, I've been promoted to your spheres. What does that mean? We'll touch on that later in our conversations. But to me is communicate, because you're at a better chance to get a referral when you're delivering good news. So, and that's when we pretty much kind of like go for the ask, obviously. So,
Love that. Miss Sue.
This is a really, really interesting question. There's a couple of different things that I like, and two of them are Coldwell Banker tools that are really, really great in terms of staying in touch. I really believe in market reports. Everybody in my sphere of influence gets a market report. You can get market reports and on one of your tiles in CB Desk, and I send it automatically to everybody that's in my sphere. Even my father likes to get them. So, everybody in my sphere gets a market report on their neighborhood or an area report on their city, which is applicable if you're doing, multiple cities or you're looking at getting referral sources from other cities. But that's a great way to stay in touch, even with builders, y'all, renovators, your plumbers, your, painters, the people that are part of your sphere of influence, they're actual service providers to your clients. They are part of your SOI. Send them a market report, understand where they live, what their families are like, those sorts of things. And it just stays in front of your SOI when you are consistent like that. And when we talk about set it and forget it, you put the market report in once and it goes out regularly based on how you set it. So between that and Clients for Life, those are my favorite Coldwell Banker tools. I think that they're invaluable. You can't even pay for that on your own and have the value there. So that is really meaningful to me. And then what I also do from a farming perspective, I also do a newsletter out to our neighborhood. We hit about 1,000 rooftops every other month. And it is another market report. And this goes to people that we don't necessarily know or have the email address to. So we're covering ourselves that way. So there is a relevant content driven cover letter along with market report for the neighborhood. And that goes to 1,000 rooftops every other month. In addition to that, for those that are past clients, we do Reminder Media Magazine. So it is a magazine that goes out that is branded Coldwell Banker, our team group, and also has your photo that is integrated, and it has just great recipes in it. I get photos from my clients with them making recipes and having fun with it. And it's really a great source as well. So between those 4 items, we're touching these people throughout the year, at least once a week with the market report, once a quarter with the Reminder Media Magazine, and then those in our neighborhood are getting our name in front of them every other month. And it's all meaningful, content-driven information.
Awesome. So one of the questions that just came in the chat is, what kind of results do you get from your farming your neighborhood?
So farming our neighborhood is probably our #1 source. We've had more success with farming, and we've closed at least 10 deals just from this.
Wow.
From this newsletter. It's worth every penny.
That's awesome. Very nice. And sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Lisa. I'm just actually going back a little bit. When we talked about Zillow earlier on, and the team that invested all of this money on a monthly basis on getting Zillow leads and paying for leads,
right.
I'll tell you the ROI on doing your sphere of influence or farming, based on my past experience, because I tried the same Zillow thing in the beginning as well, is so much more meaningful. Takes a little bit more time. It'll take you a couple of years to get the name recognition for people to recognize your brand in your neighborhood. But once you're there, and as long as you're doing all those other things in the community, it happens naturally. So now it's all referrals. We don't even do any other advertising anymore.
That's awesome. Ms. Holly, I think you wanted to say something.
No, I'm good.
Are you good? Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure. Natasha, moving over to you. So your process, what are you doing to stay, like I said, in touch with them, keeping them posted during the transaction and, following up after closes as well?
So I'm licensed in about 20 states. So I get leads from everywhere. So what I do oftentimes is I call my leads back. So if a lead calls me, then I'm going to CC the referral source. If they don't know, then I'll call the agent, because normally my leads come from many agents and things like that. So I CC them on there. Oftentimes they may not qualify, or they have to be put in the credit repair program, or whatever the situation is. So then I will let the agent know where we sent them to make sure that's the referral source they wanted. And then we have follow-up calendars. So we calendar everyone that didn't qualify for the agent or whoever referred them and myself. So a year later or 6 months later, it's just popping up on our calendars to remember, to remind them back. At closing, we do a champagne closing. So I have someone that comes out. We do that. We try to get a little video testimonial for the agent as well as for the client, you know, and then we just stay in touch. Every single time I communicate with the client, I try to CC the person who referred it. Why? Because that client may get pre-approved and then go with a different agent because they didn't remember how they got my information or whatever the situation was. So we try to connect the referral source with the lead and let it stay with it the entire process. And I feel like that has been the most successful for us. Our systems, of course, send automatic emails when it's your birthday or it's your anniversary. So I try to take the time and physically pick up the phone. Many people don't know it's automatic, but some people do. But it at least alerts me to say, what do I need to do today? And I can say, hey, I have 14 birthdays today. Let's check in with those clients. So, you know, I think those are the most important ways of how I communicate to make sure we're keeping those clients with the referral source. And I think that's the most important because they need to keep their client as well. And sometimes people don't have a good tracking system. So if we can get their client back to them, I've had clients that come from 2 years ago and I send them back to the same agent because I keep spreadsheets of where everyone came from. So I'm able to get them back. And I feel like I've been the most successful with that because agents appreciate that we remembered where we got the lead from.
Yeah, I love that. So that's one of the questions I'm going to be asking is how do you track that as well? So you just answered that you keep spreadsheets pretty much, right? So you're tracking all that, which is so important in the business.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things I wanted to touch on really quick is testimonials. So I know a few of you are, you know, requesting testimonials from your clients. Holly, I know you use Google reviews, right? So that's one of the sources that you use for Google reviews. Do you want to talk about how that's been for you with testimonials?
Sure. We used to do a post-closing email about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and include a bunch of different links depending on what the client may like. Maybe they're a Facebook person or a Zillow person or a Google person. And we just found it was just too much. So we decided for the past year, just sending Google a link to review because we really wanted to start building our Google presence. So when someone's Googling local realtor, we've got the 5-star reviews and the activity on our Google account. And it's really worked out well because everybody does a review now when we ask them. So just being very focused and letting go of some other things that weren't working is working out very well.
Awesome. Very good. Tony, how about you for testimonials?
Well, to tap on Holly's, I have a Google My Business page as well, and then we send our clients to get us a review on Google, but I also utilize it for our advantage. So whenever we're out eating or we're out at a different setting in a different city, I review the business as well, and then I get engaged with the business owner, and then that brings me up in the rankings, you know, in the Google search. So that is a great tip to when people are kind of researching in your area for a realtor, you're going to pop up as the local market expert, not just from the real estate perspective, but from a social in where to go and kind of pick like the best places out there. So it has worked for us in the past. So, but I think Google My Business page is the next best thing for sure.
Awesome. Karen?
I use Google and Facebook.
Okay.
We don't get a ton of referrals from Facebook, but what Facebook and Instagram means for us is top of mind. So we, like Tony mentioned that trick, you know, in engaging with other local businesses, that's fantastic. What we do is we make sure that we engage with businesses, but also Our Facebook is very light and fluffy. There's no drama on it. There's no politics on it. We post about our family because these are our clients or our friends. They already know, love, and like us. They want to see us successful. So I'll make a funny post, a dumb post. I'll post about my dog. We know dogs and cats are winners on Facebook and Instagram. And then I'll get 20 or 30 questions. The other day I posted something about the 5-pound bag of sugar is only 4.5 pounds now, or something like that. I had like 80 people respond. So then after that, then I talk about a client experience. So we try to keep to the 5-1 rule. So 5 things that are personal, and then 1 thing that is business related. And again, it's just top of mind marketing. It is not, there's no hard ask. Yes, maybe I'll say, yes, I've got a new listing, but sometimes it's about the miles we drive and the wear and tear on our car. And, it's very relatable. We're human beings just like everybody else. So we try to keep it pretty simple like that.
Awesome. So the database, while I still have you, I know that you were talking about what you use as a database is your Excel spreadsheet, correct?
I do. Yep.
The key is just keeping that organized.
So yes, and we organize it by, we have tabs in our database, and quite frankly, I have to applaud my husband for doing this because he is very detail oriented, and I knew right away that was not a really great job for me. But we talk about databases, and my sphere of influence has 500. And I know that there's people on this call that are like, I don't have 500 people. What am I going to do? So you're going to make a list of every single person you know and every single person you talk to. No one is ever going to call you. And if they are, they're just a jerk. They're not going to call you and say, stop emailing me, stop mailing me, stop giving me information about the market. So don't be afraid to put them on there and take them off when they ask to be removed. Very, very rarely do people ask to be removed from those lists. We organize it by, sometimes we do birthday cards. So we have categories of information, and I mentioned data mining before. So if we don't have the information, we try to go find it. Social media is a plethora of information. So you can find their dates of birth, you can find out when they got married, you can find out when their kid graduated from college. So all of those things are in there. The other thing I did want to mention about the database, and this was very painful for me to do about 10 years ago when I decided to take my sphere really, really seriously. I went back to all of my clients, and Coldwell Banker kept records. So I was able to go back and get all of those records and find out how many deals I lost and how many of those people I wasn't keeping in contact with and I wasn't friends with on social media. And that was painful. It was quite a learning lesson. Like I said, it's not easy to start that database, but once you do, it is a real fix and forget it. So now we do 6 mailers a year to our database. It is something that's very useful. One is everybody sends Christmas cards and New Year's cards. We send a Thanksgiving card, and we're thankful for you. So we send really simple stuff. We do farmers markets and 5K races and where the fireworks are and stuff like that. So cards that in theory stay on the refrigerator for a little bit longer because maybe there's an event that they want to go to. We also do 2 client appreciation parties. They're by invite only. It makes people feel really, really special. One is kids driven. So it's usually a new Pixar movie and we'll rent the whole theater. Believe me, that is not as expensive as people think. I usually spend less than $1,000. So
Awesome.
that sphere is, that's where our business is. And I've really kind of honed that in now. And over 500 is not super manageable. So if you're going to have to get some help if you go over 500. So there are people who fall off there. And then I also have my top 10 or 20 that I just dote on all year long. So.
Love that. Always staying connected. Perfect. Sue, how about you for your database?
So again, we use Excel spreadsheets as well. And to Karen's point, it is a humbling experience when you pull everything from your phone, all of your past contacts, pull it together and get it organized. The stories and the things that you remember of people that you have not stayed in touch with is sometimes makes you sad that you didn't do it. So doing that practice, at least getting it organized, getting it into a spreadsheet or a CRM, whatever you choose to use, whatever works best for you is extremely important. So having that contact list together is very, very important. I also sort of categorize that list based on the client events that we have as well. We live in this small town that has a very lively Main Street. We have these 2 big festivals a year. So we've got a client event that we do once a year for Grape Fest. It's a wine event. So we've got a separate contact list for that, but we can glean the right contacts from your master database, right? And then have your subcategories. And also, to Karen's point, you know, it's an 80-20 rule, right? You can't stay in touch with everybody that you know on a monthly basis. You just can't. There's not enough hours in the day. So focus on those lead sources and those people that represent 20% of your business. Those are the ones that you want to make sure that you're staying in regular contact with. Also having a good birthday card list, anniversary list, having those dates organized so that you're able to send out personal notes or cards during those dates as well. So I find that really effective.
Awesome, thank you. And moving up to Tony. Tony, working smarter, not harder is key to success. We talked about some things that you utilize that you can set and forget it. So you've mentioned to me, you know, utilizing some of the tools that we have between Moxie Engage, Prospect Square, Moxie Works. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we just transitioned to Moxie Engage, and I tell you, it's the best decisions I've made. You know, we're still diving into it. So I've always kind of identified and classified my leads as cold, warm, and hot, and just kind of use that simple process for any new agents out there, you know, just moving them along the way until they transact with you. I think that's always been kind of like a simple. The other tools that we just started as well is the neighborhood news, you know, that goes out. And then again, to Karen's point, is how do you stay on top of mind? You know, your prospect get an email from you, you know they opened it, and it's an opportunity to pick up the phone, say, hey, how can I be of service? You know, how can I help you? My biggest question I always ask, hey, what is on your to-do list that I could help you with? And they're like, oh my gosh, Tony, that's so generous of you. There's nothing that you can help me with. My question to you, how can I help you? And then the rest of the conversation leads into obviously a real estate, how's the market, and so forth. So to me, is try to engage, to stay on top of mind, set it and forget it. We utilize the just listed now with Moxie Engage as well. It keeps you on top of mind in front of your past clients, in front of your spheres, that, oh my goodness, you know, here's another listing for Tony. He's so busy. You know, maybe I should have him talk to my friend. So it's kind of like the domino effect. You know, somebody knows somebody else. I know about 325 in my spheres, between the spheres and the families with special needs. And that continues to grow, no question about it, on a daily basis. But don't underestimate the amount of your sphere. Each one of them know another 150. And those are the people that we want to tap onto. You should be tapping onto. It's not who you know, it's pretty much who they know.
Awesome. I love that. And, you know, in the essence of time, I want to jump to just a couple more questions. And this is going to go to you, Sue. Sue, how are you adapting based on the current market today? What's your approach? So, you know, how are you adapting, you know, as the market's changed?
Sure. So it's certainly different today than it has been in the past. I mean, business was a lot easier a couple of years ago just because it was so readily available. Now it's time for things to normalize again. Business isn't bad. It's normalizing. This is what it was like when I first started in the business. This is a little bit more of a balanced market, whereas before it was fast and furious, race to the finish, multiple offer. If you got a listing, the seller could basically do nothing to their house and overprice it, and it would still go under multiple offer. Well, we're not seeing that in our market anymore. It's becoming a little bit more balanced. So our approach in listing appointments is to structure 3 different categories of pricing. That first pricing category would be an impact price, meaning what we believe based on data-driven analysis, not what the market is actually going to do, but based on data-driven analysis through your CMA, is structure a price that may trigger a multiple offer situation. So just a little bit underpriced is that first category. The second category is the market price that we believe is the right market price. And then the third category is sort of the stretch pricing. So what this three pricing strategy does, and I had actually a seller say this to me yesterday, is the Goldilocks strategy, you know, pick price. So is one, it makes the seller part of that decision. So when it comes to having to maybe adjust the price if you didn't quite get it right, because we know that data is one thing and the market is actually going to tell you the story, and you really don't know what's going to happen until you expose it to the market, because the market is so elastic right now. We don't know what's happening with interest rates, etc. So there's uncertainty out there. So it makes the seller part of the process, makes the seller collaborative with the strategy, instead of you just going into a listing appointment and telling them the price. So when you go to adjust price, if you need to, if the market tells you it's not strong enough to support the data that you have, it makes it much easier 2 weeks later to make that pricing adjustment.
Awesome.
So
great advice. Love that. So guys, everybody listening today, what would you think is the best piece of advice you can give them? So I'm going to start with Natasha, and then we're going to work our way around. Best piece of advice for folks listening today.
So the best advice I can give you in this market is to, you know, push through. I think you should perfect your craft. Don't believe everything that you see on social media. You want to make sure that you're getting ready for the next market. This is the first slowdown that I've experienced in probably 15 years. My career has been a running race since I started. So take the time to learn your programs that the company offers you, perfect it, learn something new, invest in coaching if that's something that you can afford and that you want to do. You know, and follow loan officers. I'm Loans by Natasha on Instagram. I do a lot of videos telling about my day, programs, things that are going on, but just be ready for what's next, guys, because there is some more awesome things coming. We have a little slow start, and time is a wonderful thing, and we've never really had it before. So learn, perfect your craft and be the best at it, and your business will follow.
Awesome. Thank you, Natasha. Miss Holly.
I'd like to say first is to be authentic, be who you are when building your relationships, because whether they're past clients or friends or people you meet in the community, they know if you're authentic and you're being real. The other thing is there's so many great ideas going on this call and through Coldwell Banker. Find what you like to do and let go of things you don't like. You know, I'm not a cold caller. I'm not a door knocker. And I know those strategies work for some, but I don't like them. And so we've found ways to partner in our community, through client events, and really do the things that we enjoy, because that's when we're at our best as well. My third plug is build your relationship with either your lender or your GRA partner. And that's really helped us with buyers in this market, because GRA has such great tools. And so that's really helped us out this year. From the minute we meet a new buyer, we're working with Katie Hamas to, take them all the way through what's been kind of a painful home search for them this year. So that's what I got.
Thank you. Karen.
Well, I keep in mind that you're experts in the field, and people are going to need an expert as the market starts to shift and change, and you're going to have to handle the fear mongering that's going around out there. So become the expert, share your knowledge, share your experience, because everybody wants to go to someone who knows what they're talking about. As I talk about the sphere of influence, it will save you time, energy, and money, because all of those people in there already know, love, and trust you. So they want to share your name. So teach them how to do that. We use a hashtag. We put the hashtag on everything. We tell our clients, your clients for life. Much like Tony said, we start working after the deal is closed. So make sure that they know that. We talk about that database every single day in our little group. My husband is also a realtor, so we talk about that database. We talk about how we can make it sharper, what information we need to go get. Do it now. It is never too late to start. So even if you don't have one and you don't know where to start, my email address is really easy. Just contact me. I'll send you a note about it if you have more questions. But start your database, and even if you started on a spreadsheet, or if you use any of the programs that we have, I've used Top Producer before, I've used Close before. Just use something is what I'm going to say. Yeah, just use something today.
Tony, I'll end
I want to
it.
plug in a couple things here, and the summer soiree, it is one, and that is when we are interested and not interesting. It is an opportunity for me to bring people to my backyard in my own house and really appreciate them as a client, as a sphere of influence, or as my neighbor. And what a great opportunity to really give back to the community and showcase our work for the whole year. So it has been such a success the last couple of years, just listening and be in presence. Shout out to my amazing assistant and my awesome wife. They plan it and they just asked me to show up. So to me, that has been an amazing opportunity just to really love on people, like Karen said. My advice, honestly, is create the behaviors of time blocking every single day to make your calls to your sphere of influence. That behavior will become a discipline eventually, and if you do it consistently on a daily basis, you will have business more than you can know what to do with it. Here's the thing, Lisa, if you're not doing it, somebody else is, right? So
You're so right.
just call your spheres. Those are the people that know you, like you, and trust you. So
That's right. And Ms. Sue, we're going to end it with you on your piece of advice.
Sure. So, my piece of advice really is to treat it like a business. Treat it like a business. Make sure that you are saving money to invest in your systems, invest in marketing, and understand that, the first couple of years are going to be a little bit leaner than most, and you might have to find some other sources of income the first couple of years, and that is completely normal. That is what we all experienced in the beginning. Is it was very, very lean, but you still, as tempting as it may be to go out and buy that car or buy that purse, just save some money for education and marketing and make sure that you've got enough seed money to really treat it like a business. And thank you for having us today, having me
Thank
today.
you,
It was
guys.
such
You
an
guys were
honor to be with all of
amazing.
you.
Yes, thank you so much. You guys were amazing. Cheers to everybody out there. I mean, again, we have 6 months, a little under 6 months to finish the year strong. So what these panelists said today, consistency, sphere of influence, best source of business out there. Finish strong, and thanks again for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.